BJ Peters here from stampinbj.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator who loves to share ideas with you. And today I want to share with you some coloring techniques on our new Springtime Foils Designer Series paper. It's fabulous and you're going to love some of the techniques I have to share with you. The paper I'm going to use is called Springtime Foils Specialty Designer Series paper, and it comes from the Sale-a-Bration second release item, so it's one of those freebies that you can get during Sale-a-Bration. But the techniques I want to share with you are also techniques that you can use on some of our other awesome papers. The Springtime Foils collection has 12 sheets, 3 each of 4 different designs, and the metallics in them are gold, rose gold, and silver. With rose gold we haven't had before, and look at these fabulous colors. So you've got 3 of these flowers, and I love cutting them out. The stripes, the leaves with the silver and gold in them, and then this dotted one is rose gold, as well as some of this. Oh my gosh, fabulous. So I want to talk to you about coloring techniques for this paper. So you saw that it came in white. So this, remember the dotted background with the rose gold, I made it pinkish, and what I did was I used our foam roller and just rolled it across after rolling it in the stamp pad and going back and forth until I get the color that I wanted. And then I used a sponge dauber on my finger and colored in this flower, which I cut out from the Designer Series paper. And then if you look really closely, I used a Stampin' Blend on this. And because this paper is glossy, it seemed to kind of give some variation in where the color laid down. It, you know, with them being alcohol markers, it didn't saturate the paper because of the glossy finish as well. But I kind of liked that variation. So there you have that. And this one, I used the same thing. I did the light and the dark Stampin' Blends. One caution with that is that you'll have to use the fine nib tip, because if you actually go over the silver part here, you would actually be coloring that silver part green or the old olive. So you would use some caution in just coloring in the white part between the leaf lines. And then here's this gorgeous one. I wanted to showcase the Stripe Designer Series paper down here, and for this one I used the Stampin' Blend again, but I kind of used just the edge of the brush tip end, and that allowed me to kind of stay away from the silver a little bit and give a little bit more consistent look to it. Here where I had to fill in bigger areas, you can see that you can see some of the variation with the Stampin' Right marker there. And then this flower was actually colored in too with the Stampin' Blends. So what I've done is I've cut out that super adorable flower from one of the sheets of the Designer Series paper. Just used my little paper snips, just a perfect thing. And we're going to color it in, and I'm going to use Calypso Coral this time. Now on this one I noticed the leaf is really close to the flower, and I wanted to be careful that I protected that. So I'm grabbing a Post-it note and I'm going to put that over that part, so then as I'm coloring I'm not going to harm that or get ink where I don't want it. And I'm simply going to use a circular motion here and just a little bit of ink and color that in. I can add more color if I want it darker, but I think I like that color just the way it is. Now you want to come in with a tissue or something and buff the extra ink off that's going to be on top of the foil parts, in this case the rose gold part, so that you don't, it's not going to sink in there. You want it to come off. Now I'm going to kind of do the reverse and do the leaves. So I've got my Stampin' Blend here. I thought I'd show you that, and I'm going to use the fine tip end here, and I'm just going to come in and add a little color. And there we have it, just kind of all colored in very easily. I'll lift it up. You can kind of see that there's a little bit of ink pooling in a couple of areas, but that's okay with me. Leaves aren't all the same color anyway. Now let's color in that striped one so that I can create the color that I want here. Just coloring in between the silver lines with that brush tip end, very easy. You may be wondering, does the alcohol ink then dry on top of the glossy? And yes, it does. Dries pretty fast. And there we have that little color variation there, and that's cool as well. I don't know if you noticed on this card, but I used that new basket weave dynamic textured embossing folder, and oh my gosh, do I love that. That's also in that Sale-a-Bration brochure that I shared with you. You are going to love this one. So I'm going to go off and use that basket weave embossing folder, and I'm going to texturize the top part of our card base. One thing to remember, when you're using the dynamic embossing folders that are actually extra thick, you will use your Big Shot platform and only one cutting plate. I get a lot of those questions. I can't get it to work, and that's why. So let's get our card put together. The Whisper White that I used the dynamic embossing folder on is 3 1/4 inches by 3 7/8 inches. And I'm going to add that to a piece of the copper foil cardstock that is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And then this is 2 inches by 3 7/8 inches. We're going to add that right down here. And on the sample card, you saw that I highlighted some of that gorgeous metallic edge ribbon. We are going to do that as well. I've got the lightest Calypso Coral Stamp and Blend here, and I'm actually just going to run that right along there like that. And there you have it. Love the ribbon. You can make that any color you want. So we're going to just adhere that right over the top here. The card base that I've chosen for this one is Peekaboo Peach, and it's the standard 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. And we're just going to put that right on there like that. Awesome sauce. Then I punched out a 2 1/4 inch vellum circle, because the flower needed just something to kind of sit on to kind of help hold it out and kind of stand out. You can see the difference there. That's okay, but I think this is fabulous. So here's a little trick. Everybody wonders about how to secure vellum to your projects. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of this flower. Now I'm going to position it right on that vellum circle as I want it. That looks good. Now, when I turn this over, I can freely put adhesive here, and it's not going to show through to the other side. So I know exactly where I can add adhesive, where it's not going to have an overall effect on the beauty of the card. I wanted to add a greeting to the card, and one of the things, I wanted it to look fancy, so I pulled out the Happy Birthday Gorgeous stamp set, and I'm going to use the little frame here and then one of the little greetings that fit inside. And to kind of keep it more subtle like the card, I'm going to choose the basic gray as my background, and we're going to add this congratulations here. And this marries up with that classic label punch perfectly. I'm just going to add a couple glue dots to the back here to secure it, and we are good to go. And there we have it, a gorgeous card. Love that. Love those Sale-a-Bration choices. I hope you enjoyed the different techniques for coloring some of our glossy cardstock and some of the fancy foil stuff we have. Thanks for stopping by today. Remember, you can purchase these products in my online store at stampandbj.com. And remember to create and feel great.